Let's listen to Chrystia Freeland right now.
Last June to 4.4% in April. That is lower than the UK at 8.7%, lower than Germany at 7.2%, and lower than inflation in Australia, Norway, France, Denmark, the Netherlands, the United States, and the EU overall. The Bank of Canada has predicted that inflation will fall to 3% this summer. We're not there yet, but we have made some real meaningful progress, which is being felt in people's lives. Getting through COVID was really hard. Getting through the deep recession caused by COVID was really hard. And today, getting through the global inflation caused by COVID and Putin's invasion continues to be hard. But there is no country in the world that is navigating these challenges more effectively than Canada, and there is no country in the world better positioned for a soft landing than Canada. We are very close to the end of this difficult time and to a return to low, stable inflation and strong, steady growth. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take your questions.
What do you say about to many Canadians who are fearing their mortgages go up if the government doesn't do anything?
C'est une question très importante.
That's a very important question.
Et c'est une question, un enjeu qui m'inquiète beaucoup.
It's a question and an issue that really concerns me. I do understand that today these good things and strong part of the Canadian economy is the job market. We know that there are a lot of jobs, and people who want to work can work. To me, that's the cornerstone of our economic policy. I know that for each person, having a job is key to having a good life. But you asked a very important question. That's because there's always two issues that really create difficulties for Canadians. On one hand, inflation, and on the other hand, high interest rates. I am totally confident, and Canadians should also be confident, that inflation is coming down. We will reach inflation levels that are stable and normal. That is the duty of the Bank of Canada. We must all be confident and convinced that the Bank of Canada will do its job. But I am aware that the tool that the Bank of Canada has to do that is interest rates. High interest rates are creating difficulties for Canadians, for Canadian families. But one must understand and know that we're nearing the end of this difficult period. Every month, we get closer to the end. Now, about your question, the important thing for the government when it comes to fiscal measures and policy is to take a balanced approach. That's what we did with this year's budget as well as last year's. On one hand, we do understand that we need to take a compassionate approach and help the most vulnerable. We are there and will be there. Grocery rebates will be reaching Canadian households on July 5th, and that's the right thing to do. But on the other hand, we need to take a responsible approach when it comes to fiscal policies in order not to throw fuel on the fire of inflation.
Mortgages, this is hitting people, the middle class and those working hard to join it are getting hit the hardest by this because their mortgage prices are going up. Older people, more established, not so much an issue for them if they paid off their homes. What's your message to people who now are questioning whether or not they can continue to afford their houses or enter the market at all?
Look, I think that is an extremely important question. And there are a lot of Canadians who are anxious right now and who will be concerned when they see this step taken by the Bank of Canada. That is entirely understandable, and I absolutely understand that anxiety and that concern. I do want to point to, from my perspective, the core strength and the resilience of the Canadian economy, and that is the extremely important jobs market. The fact that we have 900,000 more jobs than we had before COVID first hit is so important. And that, having a job, having a good job, is the key to the well-being of every single Canadian and their family. It's the key to being able to pay your rent or your mortgage, and that is a strength which we have and Canadians can count on. But I absolutely understand the concerns Canadians have with mortgages today, and I understand the concerns Canadians have with inflation. And what I really think is important also for us to bear in mind is we are coming to the end of this difficult path out of the COVID economy. We are seeing inflation coming down. It hit a peak of 8.1, down to 4.4, and the Bank of Canada today reiterated the prediction that it gets down to 3% in the summer. That is a very big deal, very, very important for Canadians. And I do think it's important for us to all bear in mind the destination, right? The destination is stable, low inflation, and steady, strong growth. And that is where, that is the direction that we are heading. The path is very, very clear, and Canada is moving more effectively along that path than any other country I can name in the world.
There are some Canadians that have very good jobs, but still can't make ends meet, and you tell them that things will end soon. What about people who don't have access to the grocery rebates or other measures that you mentioned? What do you have to say to those people? That's perhaps the most important question, and as well the hardest. You're right. These are very difficult times for Canadians. It's very difficult for Canadians in the middle class. I want to reassure Canadians with two important facts. The first thing that I would like to highlight is that having a job and having a strong employment market is the most important thing for each person. And this is the thing that helps us the most. Since the recession during COVID, we have returned to a historically strong job market, and that's good news. The second thing is that, yes, we are going through a difficult time,
c'était vraiment difficile.
And high inflation rates has made it very difficult. The good thing is that inflation that was at 8.1% is now 4.4%. And the good news from the Bank of Canada today is that the bank has announced.
Okay, we're listening in as Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland sort of speaks in Ottawa to reporters after the Bank of Canada surprised a lot of Canadians today with a quarter-point interest rate rate increase on its key overnight lending rate. Chrystia Freeland trying to highlight where Canada is sort of in a global scale, inflation-wise, lower than Germany, Australia, UK, EU, and also pointing out that the Bank of Canada suggests inflation could fall to about 3% sometime this summer, but still also acknowledging the difficulties many Canadians are having at this time.